What is going down, everyone, in the TTC, the Niner Empire, YouTube land? Well, 12 years ago today, yours truly decided to make his YouTube career start as about to turn 12 years old in a week, and I made my first ever video. It was at the time of the NFL playoffs, and of course, 12 years later, same thing. And it was also on a Saturday. Now, for me, this Saturday is about to end in about 10 minutes. Everyone in the great state of California that's an hour behind me still got another day of January 10th, because January 10th, 2009 was the very first day that Danny Golding made yours truly, Danny G, made a YouTube video, and that's where it all started. And 12 years later, about to turn 24, of course, 12 plus 12 equals 24. And here I am again, ready to talk about the NFL playoffs. Man, a couple days it's been. Yesterday's games, Bills over the Colts, 27-24. I gotta say, Josh Allen, the NorCal kid, the kid that grew up a 49er fan, the kid that wore a Frank Gore jersey to Candlestick when he was about 10 years old, and then ends up being Frank Gore's teammate, ends up handing off the ball to Frank Gore a year ago. He is a beast. Josh Allen, man, just the way he plays the game, like, you just cannot help but admire it. The way he passes, the way he runs, the way he's able to make gutsy plays. He is just a straight up beast. He threw for 324 yards, 2 touchdowns. Yesterday, he also rushed for 54 yards and a rushing touchdown. He was beasting. Hey, new rule. And that goes to Jed York, John Lynch. If there's any reports of any kids growing up to be 49er fans that play quarterback, we need to draft them, okay? Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Josh Allen. Man, the Niners miss out on drafting local kids that grew up Niner fans. But the Buccaneers yesterday over the Washington football team, 31-23. Good old Alex Smith was not able to play. He was inactive. And my favorite game from yesterday, the Rams over our rival, the Seattle Sea Chickens, the Seacocks, the Lambs over the Sea Chickens, 30-20. Aaron Donald and that Rams defense just absolutely dominated Russell Wilson. That Seahawks O-line looked trash. And I just love seeing the Seahawks lose, especially in the first round, to a team that the Niners have swept for 2 years in a row, last year and this year. This year, as bad as we were, we still swept the LA loser Lambs. And yet, you see Chickens lose to them in the first round. You choke. You choke. But yeah, that Rams defense is really good. Jared Goff looked good. But I'm gonna be rooting for the Rams to lose next week again, of course. So today's games, we got the Ravens over the Titans, 20-13. Lamar Jackson, he did his thing, passing and running. Then of course we got the Chicago Bears you got the New Orleans Saints over the Bears, 21-9. And I actually watched that game on Nickelodeon. That was really cool how they were able to have that Nickelodeon feed. Noah Eagle, and let me look up all the Nickelodeon commentators real quickly so I can accurately describe them. Okay, yeah, we got Noah Eagle, who's the son, I believe he's actually also the Clippers radio announcer and the son of Ian Eagle, which is an NFL analyst or NFL play-by-play guy, I should say. He's a CBS guy, I believe. And Nate Burleson, former NFL player, he did the color commentary. And they had Gabrielle Green, Nickelodeon star, she's 15, and then Lex Lumpkin, who's 14, as a sideline reporter. It was a really cool broadcast. All the references were cool. It was really good. Hey, what's up? Shout out to my boy Austin Jones is in the chat. What is good, my friend? What is good? Yes, thank you for watching. Appreciate you tuning in. And if anyone would like to join, here is a link. You can come join real quick. But yeah, that was really cool how they were able to have that Nickelodeon feed. Of course, they had the regular CBS feed and the Nickelodeon feed. That was really cool. It's a good one. I expect them to do that more. But the funniest thing that happened in that Nickelodeon feed was Cardell Patterson, receiver for the Bears, gets called for a penalty off going out of bounds on a punt, and you hear him saying, "What the fuck?" loud and clear, picked up on the Nickelodeon broadcast. that was straight hilarious, man. I feel bad for everyone, for the people at Nick that are gonna have to get a lot of complaints probably. But we got Pam C, who's a Steeler fan, about to join. So before I put him on, I'm gonna talk about the game that, of course, the Cleveland Browns over the Steelers, 48-37. What a game that was! An absolute upset. The Browns were up 28-0 at the end of the first quarter. Baker Mayfield looked good. Nick Chubb looked good. Austin Hooper. Man, that was a good ass game, but it was complete an upset. Hey, we got JD too coming in. JD, I'm gonna let him in first, and then I'm gonna let Pam C in as well. What is up, guys? Thank you for joining. What is Gucci?
What's up?
Why am I not surprised that you would watch those games on Nickelodeon?
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say that. I totally knew you were gonna say that.
Hey, yo, guys, it's me, Pam C.
Is it?
Yeah,
I think this is a troll.
can't you tell? It's me, Pam C.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna put you on. Okay, yeah, he's gone. So JD, what is up? I see for everyone watching. Of course, JD started a new show, and his own live streams. But they're professional live streams with a green screen, with callers, with everything. And he's gonna have Grant Cohn, a 49ers beat writer, as a guest on Tuesday night, I believe.
Wednesday night.
Wednesday night. Okay, yeah. And he even has his own premium feature. $4 a month, you can sign up and get a members only feed.
Yep, and do you know how you get a professional looking live stream?
You get a professional computer, professional camera, or
You don't watch the Nickelodeon broadcast of NFL games. That's how.
well, actually, a lot of people on my timeline, a lot of Twitter people on my timeline were watching it. Actually, some people liked it better than the CBS feed.
Shaking my head.
JD, thank you for joining. Yeah, on my Twitter timeline, like there were a lot of people, talking about how cool it was. And one thing that was funny, apparently the F-bomb dropped by Cardell Patterson was heard more clearly on the Nickelodeon broadcast than it was on the CBS broadcast, from what I've heard. Yeah, the NFL could, make a good amount of money putting, having, I think that every wild card weekend, at least they're going to have that. Or I'm interested to see the future of that. It's got a lot of potential. And I think the other sports like the NBA and the MLB could, maybe get some of the ratings up for that as well. But for everyone who saw the title, of course, it has been 12 years since yours truly, Danny G, started on YouTube. And then, 12 years later, he's back. He's back making a live stream. But hey, I can't believe it's only been 9 minutes. Yeah, these playoff games today and yesterday, this wild card weekend was good. Happy for the Cleveland Browns. They 18-year playoff drought, and then they crush. Even though the final score was somewhat close, the Steelers were never really in that game. Ben Roethlisberger threw 4 interceptions. He also threw 4 touchdown passes and 504 yards. So, but the Steelers were never in that game. The Browns just absolutely dominated them. So, congrats to all their fans or long-suffering fans. Even though I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl this year, and they'll probably lose to the Chiefs. Although, hey, it would not shock me if they pulled off an upset. Anything could happen. We could potentially see a Bills, Browns, and an AFC championship, which is what I'm kind of hoping for. But, yeah, that's good for their long-suffering fans. Also, the Buffalo Bills have not made the playoffs in years, and they've never won a Super Bowl. Although I believe in the '90s, or I think it was the late '80s. They were in the Super Bowl 3 years in a row and lost. So, like, as a fan of the NFL and a fan of someone that has sympathy for long-suffering fans, I'm hoping for the AFC we see a Bills Browns AFC championship. But yeah, if you want to join, the link is right up here. Oh, that was not Pam C earlier. That was just a little troll. We got a lot of trolls up in here. Oh, my Golden State Warriors tonight. They got an upset win. I didn't actually. I hate to admit it. I hate to admit this, but I actually was not watching live. But they beat the Toronto Raptors 106-105, and they're now 6-4. And that's a team that got off to a rough 0-2 start. A lot of people were counting them out already, and then, well, now they're 6-4, above 500, looking good. Losing Klay Thompson for the year sucks, but James Wiseman looks really good. Kelly Oubre Jr.'s looked good. Curry's still doing his thing. Had 62 points a week ago. So, Steph Curry is gonna, he might be 32, turning 33 in a couple months because his birthday is in March of 1988. So, he's older, of course, but he's still got a lot left in the tank. He's still got years left in the tank. So this Golden State Warriors championship run will continue. Last year, first year of the new Chase Center in San Francisco was an off year, and of course, COVID and the pandemic happening made it for an odd entry, but of course they got a lot of rest, and I expect the Warriors to be about the at least the 8th seed. I expect them to definitely make the playoffs. I think they can even be the 7th or 6th seed potentially. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to see how that plays out. And before I sign off, which I will sign off just unless other people join, I will say, real quickly, Donald Trump's Twitter being banned. That was deservedly so that he got suspended until the inauguration because although, yes, he did not tell his supporters to be violent, to storm Capitol Hill, to break into the Capitol building. No, he did not. But him claiming election fraud with no evidence and him talking about how he wanted there to be a big march of thousands of people on January 6th, well, it's kind of no surprise that a lot of people decided to riot, and they took his words to mean that they had to break into the Capitol, had to try to start a civil war and all that. So, yes, I do think his Twitter should be suspended until the inauguration, rightfully so. However, I kind of disagree with the decision to permanently ban it because one of my favorite things to do is to laugh at his ridiculous tweets. So, go back and see his tweets from 2013 about Tim talking shit about Mac Miller and see the current replies to it because it's just crazy. The guy that got so upset about about Mac Miller making a song about him and not, not getting any money from it, even though he's a billionaire. Seeing him tweet shit like that just constantly in 2013 and then a few years later becoming the president, just crazy. But if it's a national security risk, it's Twitter, so that's really the reason why it's probably going to be permanently banned. But it's really going to be interesting to see what happens because I don't think they can permanently ban it. I think eventually it will come back. That real Donald Trump handle is going to have to come back because Twitter is that's part of what gets their traffic going is that. But yes, what's ever good for what's ever the safest, because yes, it is not, he could not be claiming election fraud still on his Twitter. Although he did concede finally after all this once Congress officially certified the election. So I just thought the timing was a bit odd. I guess Twitter thought his last two tweets when he came back were like the last straw, because he's one of them, talking about how his calling his supporters patriots, saying they won't be silent, and then the other one was him just saying he won't be attending the inauguration. Now, I did not take it as that. A lot of people didn't. He told everyone to be peaceful, even though, but that was of course after the fact. Um, but yeah, if it wasn't for him, talking about how he wanted a big rally with thousands of people outside the White House on January 6th, then we wouldn't have had, those riots happen. So yes, he's still going to try to rile up his supporters, and yes, his Twitter can be considered a national security risk. Twitter thought that somehow people would try to attack the inauguration because he said he wouldn't be attending it. I think that's kind of reaching, but Twitter had to do what they had to do. But honestly, as someone who does not like Donald Trump, I want his Twitter to be back because I want to see him talk about how upset he is that he lost the election. But anyway, fuck the politics. I just had to get that because it's a big, insane thing that happened in our country last week. I don't like talking politics on this channel, but that's a huge thing. That's something that hopefully none of us have to see again in our lifetimes, because January 20th, when Joe Biden and Kamala Harris take over, we should have a sense of normalcy, and things should hopefully be back to normal, especially with that once we get the vaccine for once, enough people, because obviously not everyone's going to take it, not everyone should, but once enough people are vaccinated, and, people that, wear masks for a little bit longer, a few more months, in public, and hopefully this whole pandemic can end. We can have our lives back to normal. We can go to games. We can go to MLB games in the summer, hopefully NBA playoff games. Hopefully the next season we can go to NFL games. Hopefully all that returns. But anyway, just wanted to come on here real quick, acknowledge my 12-year YouTube anniversary. 12 years ago today, well, technically yesterday now for me because it's now midnight, but for those on the West Coast still, or well, I'm on the West Coast too, Arizona. But for those a state, next a state to the west of me in California, and those in Oregon and Washington who might be watching this in the Pacific time zone, it is still 11, which means that it is 10 years ago, or excuse me, 12 years ago that Danny G, 11 turning 12, made his first video, yours truly. And now, 12 years later, about to turn 24, and of course, 12 times 2 equals 24. So, very interesting. So, I'm going to say one thing before I officially sign off, though. The 2021 NFL season, for me, Danny G making videos, it's going to be the best content that I've ever had in my 12 years. And Danny G is out. Peace.